What's going on, YouTube? So for our first Mercedes review, we brought you the smallest and cheapest Mercedes in the lineup. But for our second, we bring you the polar opposite, the all-new G63 AMG. This, of course, is Mercedes' flagship SUV that combines copious amounts of luxury with an iconic shape and insane off-road capability. But before we go any further, we do want to extend a special thanks to our new friends at James Motor Company for giving us access to this amazing vehicle. And if you're in the market for any new Mercedes product, be sure to stop by their showroom or visit them via their website, which we provided a link to in the video description. So with all that said, let's check out one of the most iconic vehicles in the world. So getting started here with the exterior, even people that don't know cars will still know this is a G-Wagon because the iconic shape has been fully preserved. The rugged military look is why the G caught on in the first place, and if anything, that has only been enhanced this year with the nearly 5-inch increase in width. Now as far as how it differs from the regular G550, the grille trades out the horizontal bars for vertical ones, and all the lower air intakes are at least 2 times bigger. Additionally, in the US, the distinctive front bars are standard, and if you choose the AMG Night Package, they are painted black. Turning to the headlights, they also retain their signature round shape, except this time the LED daytime running light is integrated around the headlight itself. The actual housing is blacked out with the Night Package, and the turn signal continues to be mounted up top. Another important thing to mention up front is that the AMG now has the same 9.5-inch ground clearance as the regular G550. So, besides for tires, you're looking at exactly the same capability. Now moving on to the side, you'd be hard-pressed to notice any changes from the outgoing model, since you've got the traditional boxy shape, tall flat windows, exposed door hinges, and black accents. However, it is overall about 4 inches longer than before, which for reference makes it a touch larger than the Mercedes GLE. But single-handedly the most provocative element of the styling are these signature side-mounted exhaust outlets. Not only do they look awesome, it also means that the driver is a lot closer to that glorious AMG roar. Finally, the rear is all classic G-Wagon as well, but with the modern updates like the hidden wiper, hidden pop-out backup camera, and full LED taillights. You also have the full-size spare mounted across the back, usually with a body-colored housing, but on this AMG it is painted black for a more aggressive look. But overall, this is a very successful redesign of an icon. While many brands have struggled to meld both old and new, Mercedes has done it flawlessly with this Stormtrooper G63. Now another nice element of the design are these optional 21-inch dark finished alloys, which particularly pop with the red brake calipers. You can also get 22-inch forged alloys in a couple different finishes, or you can stick with the base 20-inch 10-spoke option. From here you can kind of see the suspension, so it is worth mentioning that the G63 now rides on an independent front suspension with fully adjustable dampers. And it's safe to say this does not hinder capability in the slightest. Heading up to the mirrors, as you would expect from a flagship, they are fully loaded, with heating, auto dimming, power folding, and blind spot monitoring. Additionally, all the latest Mercedes safety systems are also on board, so you have automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, and auto high beam headlights. And finally, the last thing I want to mention on the outside is the 26.4 gallon fuel tank, which is good for 370 miles of range on all models. And of course, it does use premium fuel. But anyways, that's it for the evolutionary exterior. But now let's check out the cabin, where there has been a revolutionary change. Now, of course, every G-Wagon does come standard with this beautiful key fob, as you expect, with real metal trim, AMG branding, front and back. One of the interesting things, though, about the G-Wagon is you actually do not have the keyless go system, so to unlock the vehicle, you actually have to press on the fob still. And finally, you do have remote start available via the Mercedes Me app. So like I said, walking up to the vehicle, just going to press the button to unlock it. And we do also have power folding mirrors. Now the reason why we don't have the smart entry system is because these door handles carry over from the old model. They're one of only 4 parts that carry over. And that's to preserve the amazing sound of these doors. As you can see, there's nothing in the world that sounds like that. And give you the lock as well. But anyways, checking out the cabin of the all-new G63. As you can tell right off the bat, this is the area that has really changed the most from the outgoing model. Now, of course, as you would expect from the flagship Mercedes SUV, you can tailor this interior any way you want it. There's a ton of different color schemes. You do have fine apple leather as standard equipment, and you can get this black, you can get Tartufo, saddle brown, macchiato beige, yacht blue, platinum white, or classic red. And those are just the color schemes for the standard apple leather. You can further go up to this Designo leather with diamond stitching, and that comes in black, espresso brown, macchiato beige, or red. We've also got 6 different interior trim choices. So you can get natural walnut, brown ash, sin wood, or a metal weave as standard equipment. Or you can pay extra for black flamed ash, piano lacquer, or this as the most expensive option, carbon fiber. Now turning over here to the door trim, it is absolutely stunning, as you would expect. Now we have the optional exclusive interior package, so that gives us even more leather than the standard model. So we have leather across all the upper parts, as well as this beautiful diamond cut area right through here and on the armrest as well. Now, of course, all the other materials are authentic. You have real carbon fiber trim and beautiful real aluminum, which you can see seamlessly hides the door handle and the gorgeous Burmester speaker grille. Naturally, you do have 4 fully automatic windows. Then coming down below that, we've got our typical door-mounted Mercedes seat controls. Now the standard seat is 10-way power adjusting. However, we have the optional seating package, which gives you a bunch more adjustments, even things like your headrest, thigh extension, as well as 8 different massaging modes, like a hot stone massage or an active one that does stuff to your muscles. You also have 3-person memory seating as well, and you will find 3-stage heated seats on the base model, or when you get that optional package, you'll get 3-stage ventilation. Of course, as an AMG model, you do have the AMG Sport pedals as well. Now checking out the seat itself, it is gorgeous, of course. Some of the finest Napa leather I've ever felt, and you've got this beautiful diamond quilted design, as well as your AMG branding and color contrast stitching. And then to get inside the vehicle, all models come with the stainless steel running boards, so it's actually quite easy despite being a very tall vehicle. And then we'll listen to this door. absolutely amazing. But first, looking around the cabin, boy does it make a great first impression. Everything in here is beautiful looking, and it is also composed of only the finest materials. Now, like I already mentioned, this model does come with the exclusive interior package, and what that gives you for one thing is the full Nappa leather dashboard, as well as the Dynamica headliner. But going back to the rest of the materials, you do find, of course, more leather around the grip here, as well as real carbon fiber trim. And then all through the middle portions, you will find a beautiful brushed aluminum that houses your turbine vents. Heading on down to the center tunnel, of course, you do have more of that real carbon fiber trim, real aluminum, and then you've got leather that drops all the way down here to the floor with the gorgeous quilted design for your knee to rest against. But overall, this is easily the finest cabin I've ever experienced in person. They're simply just gorgeous materials from top all the way to the floorboard, and I've just never seen that level of craftsmanship in a vehicle before. But anyways, moving on from that, of course, you do have standard push-button start. And when you press it, you will see dual 12.3-inch displays fire up. Now, the digital gauges are optional, but this 12.3-inch display is standard on all models. And as you can see, this is the COMAND system. It's the newest version of COMAND, but as of right now, the brand new MBUX system is only on the A-Class. So like I just said, these are your optional 12.3-inch fully reconfigurable gauges, and they've got a lot of different options here. Now, you control it right here with this little touch pad and these two buttons on the steering wheel. And basically, you can customize these two tiers. So we can start over here with our tachometer, and we can change it to navigation, and we can add different types of information, including really cool things like your G reading right there in the middle. And we can do the same thing here with the center display, so we can go through traditional things like our trip stuff, or we can go more exciting things like your driving assist and your AMG performance applications. You do have a lap timer, for instance, and just really wild things. You can see your boost and different stuff like that. Now, if you click back one more time, you get to this part where you can swipe over to the designs. Now, there are 3 different designs that come on your G63. Right now we're in the classic version, so you got both your speedometer and tachometer, but you can go to something more exciting and more different. So as you can see now, we're in the sport mode, and we've got this really cool 3D looking tachometer, and then we can customize what appears on these two sides in the same way. And then the other design is called progressive, and that's pretty similar to sport, just a little bit more toned down. But anyways, coming back to the steering wheel, this is probably my favorite part of the entire cabin. You have an absolutely beautiful design. On the AMG version, we have a perforated leather on the side. As you can see, it is flat bottom and a little bit squared off on the sides as well. Now, through all this middle part, this is just a giant chunk of solid aluminum, and it feels absolutely wonderful in the hand. Definitely has that cold feeling, and it just looks stunning. Naturally, that does mean all of your buttons are fully aluminum as well, and they feel really great to touch and control. And then, additionally, you have full metal paddle shifters as well. Now, as far as the steering wheel itself, it is power adjusting, of course, and then we do have the optional $250 heating. Now, back behind the paddle shifters, you do have the typical Mercedes-Benz shifter. So it is very easy to use. All you have to do is just press down for drive. And then when you press the manual button here, this allows you to activate the manual shifting. For reverse, you just go back the opposite direction. And when you engage that, you will find a standard backup camera on every model, though we do have the $400 surround view 360 degree camera. So as you can see, we've got a 360 view on this side, as well as a customizable view on the other side. So I can scroll through, and that's for hooking up your trailer. We can go for a wide corner view, side view, front view, and this is over the whole front. Of course, these are good for not just parking, but also for being off-road. It gives you extra visibility to see what's going on. You do also have standard automatic parallel and perpendicular parking, regardless of whether you get the 360 camera or not. And then for park, all you have to do is just press the end of the stalk. And we do also have an automatic parking brake, which is new for the G-Class this year. Now, one of the nice benefits of having that electronic shifter is that it really frees up a lot of area for storage. So opening up our center console, as we can see here, it is quite big, and you do have a luxurious felt lining as well. Also within there, you will find 2 USB ports, as well as another little place here to store things. One interesting thing that a lot of you may not know is that the outgoing G63 did not have any integrated cup holders, but that changes this year. So underneath of this piece of carbon fiber, you will find 2 cup holders, as well as a 12-volt outlet and a little place to stick your key. It also does allow us to have space for our Mercedes COMAND controller. So this is the same as you find in most Mercedes models, where you have a touchpad up top and also operates as a handrest. And then you've got a knob here to switch between, to turn, click, and bounce side to side just to operate the command system, since it is not a touch display. But anyways, let's go ahead and check out some of these buttons next to the command controller. So our first stop here is our drive modes. So we can click into this, and when we do, it pulls up our different drive modes. So we have Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, as well as an individual mode. Let's see if we can get into that. Yep. And we can click there to adjust it. And this is where we can totally tailor the drive mode, transmission, suspension, exhaust. So for instance, you may want to ride more comfortably, but you may not want to sacrifice hearing that awesome engine, so you can put it into the performance exhaust, which of course sounds amazing. Like I already said, this activates your manual mode, and then this is a button for a shortcut to your different suspension settings that you can just cycle through like that. On the other side, you have your button for your performance exhaust, and this just cycles between balanced and powerful modes. This activates your 360 camera, and then this engages your low range. But anyways, now that brings us up to our audio system, which every G63 comes standard with a 590 watt 15 speaker Burmester surround sound system. So let's go ahead and take a sample. As you would expect, it sounds absolutely fantastic. Now the next place to visit is your standard tri-zone automatic climate controls. Of course, it is very simple to use. You just press this button to go into automatic mode, and then you can adjust the temperature with these really nice metal toggles. Most of the controls are down here. However, if you hit the menu rest, this will bring you to the rest of the climate controls that are not down here in the physical buttons. So this allows you to turn on and off your synchronization. You can also change your different climate modes. And you can turn on and off ionization, which basically just purifies the air to give you that really clean smell, as well as taking out the pollen and other types of pollutants. And then before we get to the actual command system itself, I do want to point out one of your signature G-Wagon features, which are your 3 locking differentials. One for the center, one for the front, and one for the rear. And I'll talk about that a little later in the video. But anyways, now that brings us up to the latest version of Mercedes Command. So let's go ahead and take a quick look. But anyways, taking a quick look here at the command system, like I already said, there are several different ways to control it. You can swipe across this touchpad, or you can also use the wheel, or additionally you can use this little touch slider on the right side of the steering wheel. This is not a touch display though. But anyways, just checking out a few of the basic features. We'll start out with the navigation. This of course is standard. As you can see, we've got a nice satellite view here, and we can zoom in and out with our control knob. Next up, I'll check out the phone. This is where your contacts will automatically sync over, and you can just click into them. You can also bump over and view your text messages as well. As far as other functions, you do have your Mercedes Connect. This is where you basically find all your applications, including, most importantly, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are both on board here. And finally, in the last section, this is where you have different settings for all the different parts of your vehicle, since it's all customizable. And then your system settings, which customizes the actual command system itself. But anyways, that's all I'm going to talk about here with the Mercedes command system. However, we will make a very detailed tech help video available if you want to learn more. A link to that video will appear in the video description. Now up above that, you do have a standard auto dimming mirror, and you will find your 3 HomeLink universal remotes built into the bottom of it. Additionally, up top, you do have full LED lighting, beautiful speaker grille, and you find your controls for the standard moonroof. Now, this is just a standard size unit. There's actually not a panoramic one available. But anyways, the cabin of the G63 is just a stunning place to be. I honestly don't even know what to say. It is just so nice in here. Like I said, from the ceiling to the floorboard, there is nothing in here that is not just spectacular. So overall, fantastic job with your flagship SUV, Mercedes. And you do also have the 64 color ambient lighting, which I did fail to mention earlier. As you can see, it does light up different places like your door handles and across the dash. It makes for a really cool effect. But anyways, now I'll go ahead and hand it off to Mason, who will finish up the rest of the cabin.
Alrighty, so heading into the rear seat of the all-new 2019 Mercedes G63 AMG, you are going to find a pretty good amount of space for its class. So you're going to find 39.5 inches of rear legroom and 40.5 inches of rear headroom, which does place it right around that of the Range Rover. Now turning over here to the door trim, of course this is a flagship vehicle, so it has a flagship door trim. So we have a leather area all the way through here. We have some diamond quilting. It is leather even on the very top portion. Of course your window is fully automatic, and that leather extends all the way down to the floor, so you even have leather down here where the cup holders are. Additionally, you have some carbon fiber trim, a nice metal door handle, as well as a beautiful speaker grille. And in addition to that, you do also have heated rear seats, which are standard across all of the G63s. Now the seat itself is of course a beautiful design here in the rear. So we have the diamond quilting and the Designo Napa leather. And in order to get in, all you have to do is step on the metal running boards above the beautiful exhaust pipes and the AMG door sills and get in. Now, of course, Mercedes isn't going to skimp on the features of the G63, so all models do have these beautiful vents, as well as their own climate controls, so you can adjust the temperature, as well as the fan speed. Now, down below that, we do have a little storage area, has a little bin here, as well as a USB port. Now, it is also worth mentioning that we do have vents here on the B-pillar. And, of course, you do also have a fold-down armrest, folds down nicely, and you have some cup holders in the end. Now up top we do have a Dynamica headliner. It's a beautiful headliner. It's really soft. It even has like plushness to it if you push into it, and that is included in the exclusive interior package. Of course, we do have an assist grip, as well as some LED lighting. And moving down to the leg room, like I mentioned, this is about on par with the Range Rover, so I have plenty of space behind Drew's seating position, and my feet can easily slide up under the seat. But overall, I don't see where anyone could complain about the G63's rear seat. It's an extremely comfortable place to spend time, and of course it does have plenty of features, being Mercedes' flagship SUV. Now we can also fold the seat bottoms up on the G63, so just locate this little strap and pull out. Now obviously one of the more classic features about the G-Wagon is that it has this sideways opening door, and it does just open like this, so you just push the button and then it will release, and it does open to the side. Now once inside the cargo area of the G63, I don't think you're going to be disappointed because there is plenty of space and plenty of room to stack stuff up. Now we did not have the exact measurements from Mercedes-Benz because they have not released those yet since this is a new model. However, it looks like there's plenty of room. As you can see, we have plenty of camera gear back here, and it is of course finished super nicely with some LED lighting, as well as a household style outlet. And you do also have a nice cargo cover. And I do also want to take a moment to admire this car's attention to detail. So we do have a leather pad here, even in that diamond quilting, even here on the trunk. And to shut it, you just grab that little handle, and it shuts just like that. Now coming over here to the passenger seat, of course it is that same beautiful design. You have AMG branding here in the back, as well as a beautiful Napa leather seat. And of course it is power adjusting, so over here on the door you have all of your controls. It is the same adjustments as the driver, and you do also have 3-person memory seating, as well as the heating and ventilation. Now in front of the passenger, of course, the G-Wagon has amazing materials. So we do have this whole dashboard covered in leather, as well as this leather assist handle with carbon fiber trim. Down below that, this is also leather. Even the glove box is leather. And coming down, you have a really good sized glove box. It's also nicely felt lined. And even all the way down here, it is leather wrapped down here, and it has a nice quilted design. But anyway, guys, that sums up all of the rear areas of the G-Wagon. So now let's go ahead and get to the reason why you buy a G63 over the regular G550.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and talk about the heart of this beast, which of course is a handcrafted V8 engine. In the AMG, it is 4 liters, just like in the G550, but of course, it's much, much more powerful. So you're looking at 577 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque.
That is absolutely insane.
It really is. This car, of course, doesn't really have traditional rivals, but the closest thing I could identify was the Range Rover Supercharged, and that is significantly more power than that model. 0 to 60 is 4.4 seconds, which seems to be against the laws of physics. With something so big, it doesn't even make any sense. But that is what they say 0 to 60 is, which is a second faster than the old G63, and the top speed is 137 miles an hour, or you can further increase that to 149 miles per hour with the $2,200 increased top speed package. Versus the old model, you now have a 9-speed automatic transmission. And of course, you've got full-time 4-wheel drive, very advanced. You got a 2-speed transfer case. Of course, there is a low range, but the cool thing about it is you can shift into low range at up to 25 miles an hour. So you usually, in cars, you have to come to a stop to do that. Yeah. But Mercedes has determined in certain situations, off-road, you may not want to lose your momentum, so you can actually shift on the fly. So that's really neat. And of course, you've got not 1, but 2 of 3 locking differentials. So the center one splits the power evenly front to back, and then the other 2 further split the power side to side, so you can have equal power to all 4 wheels, guaranteed.
And I mean, this is like the most capable car on the market, like hands down.
And then finally, you have fuel economy, which is not the focus of this vehicle at all.
No.
It is a little bit better than last year, but still not what you'd consider good. 13 city, 15 highway, 14 combined. But it is the same as the G550, so.
And you do not get the gas guzzler tax because this is a big SUV. So,
right.
In a lot of supercars, especially some as expensive as this, you get a gas guzzler tax, and that is not the case on this G-Wagon.
Alrighty, so we're not going to be able to give you a full test drive, unfortunately. This vehicle is sold. These are in super high demand. They're just now rolling out. It was sold in less than a day after it arrived.
Yeah, and they actually have 3 of them on the lot, and all 3 are sold. So
exactly. So that said, of course, this is $170,000, and it is owned by somebody else. So we're not going to be taking it on a full test drive. However, we are entrusted to take it around the property a little bit. So we said, why not film that? You can have a small sample of. I mean,
just a little bit of driving impressions.
We're not going to be going 150 miles an hour. We won't be needing that
top speed,
enhanced top speed package, but
it'll give you a good idea of what it's like to ride and drive in a G-Wagon.
Something this expensive anywhere is awesome. So I'm grateful that we're given the opportunity to experience an awesome car like this. See, we got the last generation G-Wagon right there. And there's,
wow.
as we've pointed out several times during the review, the doors and the locking mechanisms are amazing, but when you take off and we put it in drive and it automatically locks all 4 at the same time, it's kind of like a gunshot or something. It's almost a little startling the first time that you experience it, but
no car on earth is like that.
No, absolutely not. We do have the auto start stop engage, so might as well see how that operates. Actually restarts very smoothly for something
huge engine.
Such a big engine. steering wheel feels amazing. It does have, you know, the flat bottom and the squared edges, and real metal paddle shifters as well.
Wow, so driving along here, the sound of this engine, wow.
I know, it's amazing.
Holy moly. It's just like, I don't really even have words for it. It's, it sounds every bit as good as you would think it would.
Yes, Mercedes never disappoints with their AMG V8. With the way they sound is incredible.
Now obviously, riding along here in the G63, it rides like no other vehicle, and that's not saying that it's not comfortable, because it definitely is. These seats are incredible, but this car, it has I would say, hands down, the most commanding presence of any car I've ever been in. Your visibility is out of this world. And I mean, like I said, you feel like you are the king of the road when you're driving one of these.
Well, you are the king
and you are the king
road.
of the road, really. So this car is, I don't even know. I go out and drive one. I mean, it is just, it's an experience in itself, just to ride along in one and to hear that noise, as well as this amazing commanding presence that you have that just oozes from this car. Now obviously we do not have impressions on the G550 because we have not reviewed that car, but I don't know, for $23,000 I think it definitely, I mean, this has the highest percentage of AMG purchases.
According to Mercedes, historically this is the highest percent take rate for AMG products versus the standard model, and I can see why. I mean, frankly,
why not?
$125 is the base price for the G550 at this point, and that's for the base model. You know, when you get options on that and stuff, that the price is going to balloon. I honestly would say, why not? But yes, like I said, this is really an amazing opportunity, amazing experience here to just piloted this, even just for just a second, you know. There's nothing in the world like the G-Wagon. The G-Wagon stands on its own. It is an icon. It really is. There's not that many iconic vehicles in this world. It is an iconic vehicle, and that's because it excels in pretty much everything, especially after this redesign, where you have all the modern.
This is a flagship interior,
but you still keep that iconic design and of course the capability, and then performance capability. You never see that combination of the two put together. So this is truly one of the finest SUVs money can buy.
Alright, so the G-Wagon is of course Mercedes' flagship SUV, so it does cost quite a bit, especially in this AMG trim. So the starting price for the G63 AMG is $147,500 for 2019, and it is worth noting that that's about a $23,000 price premium over the standard G550 model. Now, obviously there is a lot of options, and you can make this car pretty much anything you want it. If you want crazy paint or whatever, you can do that on this car. It's highly customizable. So this one, as equipped, has quite a few options checked off, so I'm going to go ahead and read some of them from the window sticker. So this one has the optional 12.3-inch widescreen instrument cluster, which is the digital gauges, and that's $850 option. It also has the heated steering wheel, which is only $250, so I don't know why you wouldn't check that off. And then we also have some optional wheels, and that is going to ring in at $1,200. And then in addition to that, we have the increased top speed, so this one can actually go 150 miles an hour. So we do have that, and that's $2,200. And the biggest package of all is the exclusive interior package. So this is like the biggest package you can get on your G63. And that is $7,200 and includes this absolutely gorgeous Napa leather, diamond quilting. You have this beautiful headliner. Tons of stuff is included in that package, so that's $7,200. And new this year, we have the AMG Night Package, so that kind of blacks everything out and makes it look really cool, and that's another $1,800. And then finally, we have a $400 surround vision camera, so you don't make sure you don't hit anything in this car. And then we have a $995 destination charge, which makes this one total ring in at $166,095, which obviously is a lot of money, but honestly, this might be I think it might be the coolest car I've ever been in. It's just, everything is so, you just don't even understand until you've been in it before. So, it's a lot of money, but I'd say it probably is worth it, honestly. It's a luxury, most capable car ever.
To get this combination of performance, capability, and just an iconic style. There's nothing else in the world.
There really is nothing. So Mercedes has really done it with this car. Well guys, we hope you enjoyed watching the first in-depth look at the 2019 Mercedes G63 AMG. Please hit those like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.